All righty. Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to the YWCA's Facebook Live Connect, Heal, and Learn speaker series. I'm Rose Hernandez, Clinical and Community Services Supervisor. For those who are unfamiliar with what we do, the YWCA Greater Austin provides individual, couple, family, group therapy, care coordination services like life skills classes, school-based services, consultation, training, and advocacy. Our mission is to eliminate racism, empower women, stand up for social justice, and help families strengthen communities, which we've been doing for over 116 years. We truly stand at the intersection of mental health and social justice. This speaker series focuses on inviting subject matter experts and people with lived experience to discuss topics and connected to mental wellness and social justice. This month, in recognition of June being Pride Month, we will be talking with two parents involved in advocacy efforts to support their loved ones. And so welcome. Would you be, one of you want to start with introducing yourselves?
Sure, I can go ahead. So I'm Adrianna Ortega. My pronouns are she, her, and I am a child life specialist. And so I have a private practice called Caterpillar Child Life. And within that practice, I work with children who are exploring gender identity and gender expression, and just kind of providing that safe place for them to be able to figure out who it is that they are in this world. And so I can do that through individual support as well as group support. And I am also a mother of two. And so I have a cisgender boy and a transgender girl. And I found out early on that there were not as many resources as I thought there should be here within the Austin community for young transgender or gender expansive kids. And so that's how I got involved in all of this. Yeah, and I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
And hi there, I'm Ginger Chun. I am also the mother of two kiddos. I have, they're both young adults. So I have a cisgender son and a transgender daughter. And in addition to that, I am a social worker, and I just happen to also work in the field supporting and educating regarding gender identity as well. So I work for Transgender Education Network of Texas, and we support, part of our work includes supporting families who are trying to support their children.
Great, thank you and welcome. I want to start off in just asking both of you what Pride Month means to you. What are your thoughts?
Well, for me, I have, my children are a little bit younger. They're 9 and 11. And so it's absolutely about focusing on all the things that we are proud of, all of our accomplishments and who we are. And that also includes, being a part of the LGBTQ community. And we have lots of other family members and friends that are a part of the community. And so for us, it's just a time of celebration, of celebrating who we are as humans. And we do that in lots of different ways. Sometimes it's going to a community event. Sometimes it's, hosting a little backyard party here at the house where we do crafts that involve pride and in anything, truly, not just being part of the LGBTQ community.
Absolutely. And then I would say for me and my family, Pride means just celebrating the joy of the community. And I also love the increased visibility and representation the community has during this time of the year. It's just so fun to be involved with the community at this time of year because there are so many amazing celebrations. And I celebrate trans joy.
Truly. And it feels like we're connected into so many communities around the country, right? And the colors, etc. Awesome.
Yeah, and feeling, I was just going to say, feeling that community is such a huge, important piece. And so to
Yes.
really see the community all join together during this month, it's really special.
Yes, it's definitely warming, right? Well, I do have a series of questions, and I'm going to just ask them, and whoever would like to participate and share, that would be great. Now, Pride Month recognizes the contributions of the LGBTQI plus community, as well as challenges and struggles faced, right? What are some of the areas where you've seen advancement for the LGBTQI plus community? And also, what are some challenges you see are impacting your loved one and the community?
Should I go first? Go
Yeah,
ahead, Ginger.
go ahead. No, okay, well, all right.
Go ahead.
Well, so I mean, I guess what I've seen, I mentioned already that this month is a month of increased visibility and representation, but I think that's happening for the community across the board, which is amazing. Right, like even like in film, and people are able to be more open at work in many cases, and just in general, we have a lot of elected representatives now that are able to openly share their identity as part of the LGBTQI plus community. It's amazing. In some cases, we're seeing more inclusive legislation, and my spouse is retired military, and I would say that I've enjoyed seeing greater visibility and inclusion in the military. That's made our family feel really, just made us really happy to be able to see that as well. And I'll just kind of leave off on that and let Adrianna.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me, working with younger children, I see so many resources that were not available 10 years ago, from children's books that, gently cover the topics, thinking about things like the Pride celebrations that they have here in Austin within the school district, even for the elementary kids, and thinking about like at my children's school, they have all gender inclusive restrooms where, there isn't no longer the boys' restroom and the girls' restroom, it's restrooms for all. And so seeing things like that, I mean, it's huge. And so I do see a lot of changes, especially coming up with this younger generation.
I mean, I guess I can hop onto some of the challenges, and I know that Adrianna will agree on this one, which is it's very frustrating to see the increased use of trans and gender expansive people, but especially youth, as kind of like a political tool. It's very disheartening and sad, because they're not asking for anything except to be just seen for who they are, and it's a community that really doesn't hurt anyone. And so it's very frustrating to see that. And then also I find sometimes the lack of understanding just in the larger community on the issues that affect the LGBTQI plus community it's frustrating, because people just don't see it. And that's hard.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Next question. At this point, there are a lot of rhetoric and legislation that is anti-trans. What are some of the things that you feel are important for people to understand as they make general comments and policy decisions?
For me, I just wish that people could get a glimpse into our families. I just feel like if you all could see our families, we are just regular, your next door neighbors that, my kids, while one of them identifies as trans, she loves gymnastics and painting, and she's doing all the same things that her friends, are into, that your children are into. And so I just wish that there was a way that they could just see that we are just like everybody else, and we're just here trying to support our children in the best ways that we can, to see them prosper and see them be happy.
Absolutely. I would add, like, encouraging people to just get to know trans people, right? Just get to know their families, speak to families with trans youth, just get to know them in every day in real life, and get educated about the topic before anyone speaks about it, right? Like there's so much really great, accurate information out there. And yeah, so just like learning and getting to know people.
Right, right. And it seems like everyone is just enjoying, participating, and just like every
Yeah.
other person, right? It's not
Yeah,
all the joy. All right. There have been recent directives by the leaders in Texas to report families and providers for providing gender affirming care. What are your thoughts about these actions?
been tough. It
Yeah.
has been just a huge weight for so many families. You know, as I said, as parents, we are literally doing everything that we can to try to support our children and get them the resources that they need, whether that's, you know, the right doctors, the right mental health team, you know, groups where they can be accepted. And we're out here working so hard to make sure that our children, you know, are healthy and happy and grow to be healthy, happy adults. And yeah, I think people don't realize all of the work that we're having to undergo as a result of all of these things, and just terrified, right? I mean, there are so many families that have left the state of Texas specifically because of these things, because we are fearful that, you know, we're being targeted at this time. Which in my opinion, we should be celebrated for all of the hard things that we're doing, and instead we're sadly being run out of the state.
Right, good point.
And it's even families that have been investigated, like I've heard, oh, well, they were investigated and it was all okay. But the actual stress of being investigated is a huge burden for a family. It takes time, it creates anxiety. So even if your family hasn't been investigated, you hear these stories. And so as Adrianna said, there's this anxiety and fear that just, it's an extra layer that families just don't need when they're, you know, real life is hard enough.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And you know, I wish people could see that, you know, imagine that you as a parent all of a sudden are worried that CPS is going to arrive at your child's school and do an investigation, because they can do that. Just show up at school, pull your child from class, and start interviewing them. So then as a parent, we are having to prepare our children for that possibility. That it's traumatic for these children, right? Like, what do you mean somebody's going to come and interview me and ask about our family because they don't think that my parents are doing a good job? Like, that's, you know, that's a huge weight on these poor children.
Yes.
I mean, it's hard enough for me as a parent, and then for a child to have to process that, it's immense.
Right. Okay. Thanks for sharing that. It sounds like everyone's working towards just creating some comfort and some space to have to be able to just grow up, right?
Right.
Okay. What do you see as the impact of this rhetoric on mental health of youth who identify as LGBTQI+? Well,
I do hear that many families are trying to like kind of protect their children from hearing all of this rhetoric. However, kids still hear it, right? And it's very stressful for them. It creates fear where hopefully fear is not merited, but that's hard to explain to a child, right? And then it also, I think, encourages bullying and discrimination, right? Like kids will get bullied for things at school that if this hadn't been raised in a public forum, the awareness kind of would have, you know, flown by and nobody would have been aware, you know, attention wouldn't have been drawn to it. So It's just really hard to see that it's kind of become acceptable to say what you're thinking, even if it's hurtful and incorrect, and it's very harmful.
Mhm, mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Like Ginger was saying, as parents, we're trying to protect our kids from a lot of this information. But when, because of everything that's been going on, many doctors are no longer able to meet with their patients, right? And so the kids are like, well, that's my doctor. Why can't I meet with my doctor? And so it's put us as parents, we're forced to
Mhm.
share more of this information with our children, even though we know that it's going to be harmful to them. But
Mhm.
our kids are smart and they know that there's something going on. Not only that, but they feed off of a parent's level of stress and anxiety, right? And so even if the very best parent tries to hide it as well as they can, the children are aware that there is a huge stressor.
Mhm.
Um, and then of course they hear about it in other ways. Like you said, it could be from a friend at school. It could be, when they hop on to, their parents' Facebook by accident, different things like that. So
Mhm.
they're definitely aware
Yeah,
more than any child should have to be.
right. And it seems like both of you are also have, are using and have open communication. You're working towards, what are your thoughts? What are you feeling now? Let's work together on this. And that seems like that's another consistent piece that's been so supportive, maybe to both of you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely. And
Mm.
even though my kiddo is in their early 20s, like I always make sure still to check in, because they obviously, young people are very active on social media, and so they're seeing everything that's out there. And so I'm always just touching base, even though, she's not 7, but she still has to process all of this, everything that she hears.
Definitely, definitely. Okay. Um, and you kind of mentioned this already, but well, let me go on. As a parent, what are some changes you would like to see in society and legislation in your loved one's future?
Well, I think we're making a lot of progress in a lot of ways, right?
Yes.
The fact that, you can put your pronouns on social media, or, now you see in people's email address lines, the pronouns, like those to me are little hints, little glimmers of progress. And so I'm sorry, I got a little distracted, but but yeah, so more things like that, right? More normalization of all of these things is really what we need, because um, LGBTQ people have existed since time began. Like, this is nothing new.
Right.
It's just that we're trying to learn a new way to look at it, accept it, and make it visible for more people, so that as they're growing up, they know that these are options and these are good options, and that they can create a happy life despite all this stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to see a space where my kiddo can be themselves, right? And not have to worry about hiding aspects or being cautious, and to not have to be fearful when they're out in a public forum, and just not be at risk of harm, right? And obviously,
Mhm.
the other thing would be just for legal protections, right, across the board. I mean, there are states where there are legal protections for the whole LGBTQI plus community. Texas is not one of them, but we have hope for the future here.
Mhm. Yeah, and it seems like a lot of the language you're using is about inclusivity, just in all protections, right?
Mhm.
And in conversations about people's lives here, just include
Right.
everyone.
Yeah,
For
the beauty of diversity.
Yes.
right. Well, and for an LGBTQI plus person, that's just one aspect of their identity, right? Like
Mm.
everybody who's a part of that community is a full-fledged person, right?
Mhm.
They have hopes and dreams, they have jobs, they have friends, they have hobbies, right? Like that's just a little small part, and well, not necessarily small, but it is just a part of who they are. And so to be able to just be your whole fully evolved person,
Yes, yes. All right. What are some things that advocates and providers can do to support current efforts and emphasize Pride Month or emphasize other things? What do you?
I mean, I like to say that Pride Month should be every month, right? But I think just getting, if you don't know about the community, getting educated, right? There's so many options out there, and also getting involved in advocacy work, literally from the local level to the state level to the national level, right? Adrianna and I met because we were out there doing advocacy work originally, and yeah, like it's important work, and you don't realize it when maybe you don't feel like an issue affects you, but these issues affect everyone.
Yeah. And I would say, kind of adding on to that, is just that how important it is to seek community and for everybody to really join together. And you know, here in Austin, there are many ways to do that, from, you know, joining your PFLAG to having your kids join Out Youth, Caterpillar Child Life. There's Chrysalis Q. There's just so many, and all the tent events. There's so many ways that we can join together and feel safe, feel accepted, feel valued, and then create plans to be able to do that advocacy work.
Yes,
absolutely. And also the other thing I always like to say is changing hearts and minds one at a time, like educating your friends and neighbors. If you happen to be an ally who knows and understands what's going on, sharing that information with your friends and neighbors and family members that maybe aren't as informed.
And if you can, donate to all of these great resources, because everybody's working really hard right now. I know in Texas, everybody's working hard. Donating so that we can keep supporting all of these families. You know, a lot of these families have had to seek legal counsel. They are, you know, having more therapy sessions than they had to previously, just because the anxiety and the stress level is so high. So thinking about all that, you know, sadly, money is a factor. And so if you are able to donate, then please do so.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. You kind of did this already, but do you have any last words or anything you want to plug for Pride Month?
I just encourage everybody to get out there and participate somehow in Pride Month. There are so many activities going on, right? So it's just a great way to connect with the community, but then represent throughout the year, right? Because it is more than Pride Month. There are LGBTQI plus people every single day, every day of the year. And so just being supportive and representative all year round.
Yeah, and in doing that, there's so many small ways that you can send that message that you are a safe person, or that you are kind of on their team, right? Which it's as simple as, again, putting your name, your pronouns in your email signature. It's as simple as, you know, attaching a pin or a bumper sticker that shows that you're an ally. There's so many small ways that you can do it if you don't have the resources to, you know, donate a bunch of money. And so there's just a lot of ways. I know this Saturday there's going to be a Trans Joy picnic. So I know lots of families will be out there for that. Well, and actually, I'm not sure if it's just Trans Joy or if it's just LGBTQ in general, but it's a pride picnic, basically, I should say, that's happening at the Capitol this Saturday.
Awesome. And you were talking about bumper stickers, and I'm just thinking about how many water bottles I've seen with these decals. It's become a thing. So, and
the thing is, again, going back to kids, like kids notice those things. My daughter at the Meet the Teacher last year, she saw that her teacher on her laptop had a little tiny pride, you know, rainbow, and instantly she took a big deep breath and she was like, okay, I'm going to be safe in this class this year, you know, and those are things that like you don't realize that you're sending those messages, but that meant so much to my family that in that first 2 minutes of knowing that teacher, we knew that we would be safe just because of that sticker. So
Yep.
little things like that go a long way.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All righty. Well, thanks so much for joining me and us, I guess, in sharing parts of your lives and work, because it feels like you're interacting with such a big community now and wanting to support and share. So I appreciate that. And, you know, just reminding everyone to keep this conversation going. So once you see this, once you leave here, that we continue, and like Ginger was saying, connect with someone, just one person at a time, right? And if, excuse me, if anyone would like to connect with the YWCA services, you're welcome to call at 512-326-1222. All righty. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.